Welcome to Learn Commerce PU online classes. Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.
Welcome to our second PU Computer Science online classes. And in last class, we already learned the concept, types of constructors, and we know that in types of constructors there are three types are there: default constructor, parameterized constructor, and copy constructor. And we already know the meaning of default constructor. That means it is a constructor and such constructor does not accept any argument, is called default constructor, and also called as our zero argument constructor. And we already know the syntax, class name, scope resolution operator, class name, open the parenthesis, int is equal to 0, close the parenthesis, and we can write the comment as, that means a constructor without argument. The default constructor does not contain any argument, so int is equal to 0, and we already completed one simple example in case of the outside class definition and as well as the inside class definition. Now in this concept we are going to study some of the program by using default constructor. So the program to show initialization of an object using default constructor. We are going to make the initialization to the object using our default constructor. So the first going to start by using header file iostream.h. Second one is the iomany.h, and maybe if you want you can use one more header file. Header file is the conio.h, and such header file is usable for our CLR SCR. And the keyword class is used to declare the class. Class name, that is called as the user defined name. Okay. So the user defined name is the X, and in our private member data are int A, B. So member data, there are two member data are there, the name of the member data A, B, and later we need to use the semicolon. Okay. And later next one is our public. In our public access specifier we using some of the member function, and it is a constructor. So we need to use one special member function. The name of the function is called as the constructor, and we already know the note, very important note about the constructor, the class name and constructor name should be the same. So I am going to start the name of the, that means the constructor function. So here we can say that this one is the constructor function. Okay. So it is a constructor member function, and we know that it is a special member function, and such function going to use in class. And why we using? To initialize the object of the class automatically, to give some value to the object, whatever the variable we created or whatever the members we created in the class, it going to initialize some value to the object. And we know that it is the example program about our default constructor, so no any arguments are there in the parentheses. Okay. And later next one, opening of the flower bracket, and I am going to initialize the value for A and B, that is 10 and 20, and closing of the flower bracket. Why? Because we know that the constructor is using to initialize value to the data members of the class. So the data member of the class are A and B. And the second function, the void display. Now it is not a constructor member function. Why? Because we know that if it is a constructor function, we are using the same name, that is we are provided to the class here, but it is a simple member function of the class X. So the member function name is the display, and going to define by using the return type. The return type is the white display. Then opening of the flower bracket, in display I want to display some of the message, okay, on monitor. So this cout going to use, cout is the console output, and here we know that in case you are using double quotation, then it going to display as a message. If you are not using double quotation, then it going to display the value of the variable a. So just only going to y, because here no any double quotation is there, that means it going to display the value. So what's the value we provided or added to the class variable a. So cout 10 and set w 5. Why? Because we know that we need to leave some of the space in between the variables. Otherwise, if you are not using, we can't say whether it's a 10 or 10,200, correct? No. So just only we can say that we need to leave some of this space. So to leave some of this space, we need the header file. If you are using the function set w5, we need to use the function, that means the header file. Header file is the iomanip.h. So 10 and leaving some of this space, and another side it going to display the value of the b. So what's the value we provided to the variable b? The value provided to the variable b, that is the 20. So going to display 10, then space it providing, and after that it going to display as the 20, and we open the flower bracket. So such flower bracket going to close, then one more flower bracket by using this semicolon. This is called as the end of class definition. Okay, and after the class definition, end of class definition, we need to define the main function. We need to pass the main function. So the main function going to pass, that means by using the main function, by using our void, and after the void the opening of the flower bracket, and later next one, what are the object you want to declare? By using the class x, such object going to declare here. So such object going to declare by using the class name. The class name is the x, and in this example I used two objects. The object names are obj1 and obj2. Okay, here, and such obj1 and obj2 accessing the member function. Should remember it, the obj1 and obj2 accessing the member function. So how it going to start? Obj1 dot display open close semicolon and obj2 dot display open close semicolon. Why? Because how many objects are there? Obj1 and obj2, there are two objects are there. So after we open the flower bracket, so such flower bracket going to close, and after that we will get the output as the 10 and 20. How it going to display? Why? Because here in obj1 display, in our display member function, so this is the member function of the display. So in display member function we return some message. The message is the 10 and leaving some space 20. Because of this reason it going to display the output. Okay, here it going to display the output as a 10 and 20, and not only one time we are going to access the object, and the another object is there obj2. So it going to access the obj2 dot display. Again we are going to display the value 10 and 20. Why? Because we know that the feature of the default constructor. So what are the feature of the default constructor? For each, that means whenever the object created, this constructor, the default constructor is automatically called. When you are going to create the object, our default constructor or whatever the constructor is there in class, it going to called by the constructor. And the second features we can say as about all the object of the class. So how many objects are there? Obj1, obj2. So there are two objects. So all the object of the class are initialized same set of value by the default constructor. So this one is the obj1, okay, a and b. So 10, 20, obj2 a and b 10, 20. So when you are going to view in this case here, this is the value of the a, but obj1 value, obj2 value, and this is the value of our objects, that is the obj1 and the obj2. Clear this one? The a and the b value here. So this is the a value. So both side the value are, we can say that 10 and 20, and this one is the obj2 a and b. The value are 10 and 20. So we can say that all object of the class are initialized same set of value by the default constructor. If different object are initialized different value, it cannot be done by using our default constructor. That means we can't use the different kind of values by using our default constructor. So this is the most important features about our default constructor. Now let's see, and this example is suitable for our inside class definition. Okay, so this is about our inside class definition. Yeah, why? Because no any scope resolution operator. But also I want to tell one more example about our default constructor by using scope resolution operator. So let's see the program, the next program, to show the default initialization of constructor member function using scope resolution operator. That means it is, I want to define outside the class. So to define outside class definition, we know that we need to use the operator. The operator is the scope resolution operator, and we also know what's the purpose of the scope resolution operator. The purpose of the scope resolution operator is used to define the member function. So the first thing we know about it, going to start by using header file. Header file is the iostream.h. The second header file is the conio.h, and third one is the hash include ctype.h. Why? Because here I am using iostream for input and the output, and conio for our CLR, SCR. Okay, and later next one ctype. Why? Because here some of the strings, okay, the string, the group of character I am going to use, and we already know in case when you are going to use the group of character, we should use the header file ctype.h. That means the character type, okay, .h here. And if you want for the end line and the set w, you can use one more header file. Header file is the iomanip.h. So whatever the header file, whatever the function you are using in class, depend on the function you are going to use the header file. Okay, and later next one, going to start by using the keyword. Keyword is the class name of the class is the student. It is called as the user defined name, the name defined by the user. So to this class the user defined the name is the student. Okay, and later opening of the flower bracket, and later by using the access specifier, the name of the access specifier private, and such private is usable to declare the member data of the class here. So the member data of the class, one is the register number. Why? Because we know that the register number, how we are going to take the register, maybe 100, maybe 1, maybe 200, maybe 205, like that. By using that means it going to use in a whole number without any fractional parts. So such one going to use by using the data type int. Okay, int register number semicolon, and second member data of the class student, that is our char name. That means the name of the student I want to enter. So maybe the name of the student you want to enter, here we need to use the data type. The data type is the char, the character, and going to enter. Why? Because we know that the student name not going to use by using one letter, maybe it's a group of character we need to use just to give the name to the student. And later next one is about our public, and in public I am using some of the member function, and also I am going to use, why? Because it is a constructor program. So sure I am going to use one constructor member function and also one normal member function. So the first member function is there, no, this is the student member function. That means it is not a normal member function, it is a constructor special member function. What's the name of the class? The name of the class is the student, and also the name, whatever the name I used for this special member function, it also the student. So we can identify this is the special member function. Okay, and second member function, that is the display. It is a normal member function of the class student. Clear this point here? Class name is the student and the constructor name should be the same. So I used the special member function name as the student, and the second member function is the display. So this is the normal member function of the class student. Then closing of the flower bracket with the semicolon. We know that why? Because it is called as the end of class definition. Why? Because in this program I want to show about the using of the scope resolution operator. So whatever the scope resolution operator going to define, it is going to define outside the class. Which one is called as the outside the class? When you are using flower bracket semicolon, this one is called as the outside the class, outside of a class. Yeah, now this one is called as the inside a class. Okay. Later next one about our, I want to define the special member function. So how I am going to define this special member function? Why? Because you know the syntax of the default constructor. What's the syntax? Class name, scope resolution operator, class name, opening of the parenthesis, closing of the parenthesis. Why? Because we know that in between the opening and closing of the parenthesis we are not using any argument. And why we are not using any argument? Why? Because we know that in default constructor the argument not going to use. Okay. And later next one, class name, that is the student, scope resolution operator, and the class name, it is also the student, open close. So that means we can say that this one is the constructor special member function going to define by using the operator, scope resolution operator. And why we using the special member function? To initialize value to the object. Okay. Now what are the member value I used in the class? The one is the register number and second one is the name. So just I am going to initialize some value for the register number and name. So register number I used here the value as the 11. You can use any value. Clear this one? And second one is the name. So I want to just and in this program I want to show some of the copy. Okay, the copy string, that means strcpy, copy of this string here. So strcpy, because of this reason. Why? Because in this program I want to use the function. The function is the strcopy function. Because of this reason I used the header file. Header file is the ctype.h. Clear this point here? ctype.h here. Now in this program, so whatever is that means here two strings are there. One is the string 1, second one is the string 2. Now I am going to make the copy, that is from string 2 to string 1. Clear this point here? String 2 to string 1. So such a book going to make the copy into the name. Laterwards we will get the answer as the book only. Clear this point here? Stir copy, I am going to make the copy from one string to the another string. So I am going to make the copy, that is from string 2 to string 1. So book into the name. So that means finally we will get the answer as the book only in both sides. Now just the answer book is there. Then we open the flower bracket. So such flower bracket going to close. Now this is about our some initialization. Now later next one more member function is that the name of the member function is the display here. So we need to define such a display. So I am going to start. Why? Because I started the return type, that is the white. So white, and class name is the student, scope resolution operator, member function name is the display, open close. Okay. And later next one, just I want to write some of the code. So opening of the flower bracket. Now what's the message I want to display on monitor? Such message I am going to write, and maybe something by using double quotation and without double quotation. So I want to display the register number. So I am going to use such a register number by using double quotation, and later the register number I want to show the value of the register number. So without double quotation I am going to use, and later next one here two informations are there. So such information I want to display one by one after the another. So because of this reason I used the end line. Clear? And later not just only one information, one more information I want to display, that is the name here. So such a name I declared by using this small letter. So here you can use the capital or small, no effect. Why? Because it just going to display as a message, but after that maybe in case you want to display as a value, such one how you are going to declare in declaration, like that only we need to take. Clear this one? So opening of the flower bracket and closing of the flower bracket. right now still here we define the special member function, we define the member function also, and later next one after that we know that after completing each and everything we should use the main function in the program. So main function going to use by using the void. If you are using the void, then return 0 we are not going to use, correct no kya? Maybe int main is there, we are going to use the return 0. So I am going to use in this program the main function as the void main function, then opening of the floor bracket, and later next one I want to declare the object name is the S1, and such object going to declare by using the class name is the student, and after the declaration of the object, just one message I want to display. The message may be use of default constructor. Why? Because it is the program of the default constructor. So just one simple message I want to display, that is the use of default constructor, and later next one the object going to access the member function. So how we need to write here S1 dot display, and in display we already written some of the information. Why? Because what's the information we written in display? The information is I want to show the register number of the student, and that means here just only I written as the register number, and second one is the name. So it going to display on monitor, one is the register number value and second one is the name value. But before going to display the register number and name value, that means it going to display the output as the register number, and register number is the 11 in this case here, and later next one the name value going to display, maybe the name value is the book. But before going to display all those information, first of all it going to display the message is the use of default constructor, and laterwards it going to display register number 11 and name, that is the book. How you got such a book? Why? Because we already copied from one string to the another string. So some explanation about this program we can say that, so this program show the use of default constructor, correct? No, why? Because the first program also the example of default constructor, and second one just the difference, in second program I used scope resolution operator and defined outside a class here. So the use of default constructor, and we know that the constructor name is the student. Why? Because class name constructor name is the same, and why we using the student? Why? Because they are to initialize the class members some of the values, correct? No, to initialize the value to the class members as soon as they are created, to initialize value to the class members. Thank you.